Hey, it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be working in my altered book. Thank you guys so much for all your lovely comments about this altered book and the mini altered book series. I am so happy that you are as excited as I am to work in this little journal. It has really been so much fun getting back into this creative habit and just sort of lifting that pressure to produce perfection all the time, because I feel like sometimes that's what can hold us back. So I'm just wanting to create freely and just see how I can really explore different ideas. This page that I'm going to create in this video, I think I said in the last video that I was going to do like a couple of spreads per video, but I'm just going to show you the one today because this was a journey. You'll see as I'm going through, and what I wanted to do was leave in all the different steps that took me from starting the page to the finished piece, because there were several different stages during the process where I thought, I hate this, don't like this, why have I done this? Which is something I feel like we all feel at some point, and I was really determined to push through. I started off by creating a textured background for this piece, so with the acrylic paint, and here adding some tissue paper, which doesn't really show up on the page, but what it does do is add some really nice texture to the page. And a lot of these elements at the end of the spread, they are pretty much covered up. You don't really notice that they're there, but it's just, for me, adding all those different layers really builds up and adds that interest to your page. So that's why I love kind of adding this foundation to my pages and then letting all the bits of the details show through. They don't all kind of shine to the surface, but they're still there as part of the finished journal page. After I had worked on my initial background layer, I then wanted to start adding some scrappy collage to my page, just to start adding some colour. So I was using some neutrals because that's what I'm comfortable with, and I was just seeing how I could lay these out. I didn't actually go over those flowers that are on the left and right hand side of the page. I was kind of wanting to preserve them at the beginning, but with everything that went on with this page, they did actually get covered up quite a bit, but I feel like they're still nice elements to have on the page. And adding these torn, ripped elements really adds some nice texture to the page, and starts to build a bit of a focal point of where I might want to focus some of the elements on my page. I then came back in with my white acrylic paint just to soften some of the edges, because it kind of felt like they were just sort of floating on the page almost and a little bit disconnected from the background. So I really wanted to try and make everything cohesive and blend together. Then I decided to use this torn off piece of an envelope to bring across the colour story, so bring those neutrals onto the other side of the page so that they went across everywhere and told a little bit more of a story, adding more layers here as well. I got some new stencils. These are from The Range, and they are a really nice versatile pack of some dots and some stripes and lines, which I think will be really nice to use in my journal. So there's some small dots, some larger ones, and then these different ones with lines. So there's diagonals, and then this one here, which looks quite interesting, but I think that would actually be great for making lines, to do journaling on and do writing. So I think that will come in handy. And I was just deciding here which bold pattern I wanted to use on this journals page, because I wanted to do a bit more of a painty feel for this one. Now here's where things started to unravel. I'm using this Paper Artsy paint and I love the colour of it, but I just don't think I loved it when I actually put it in my journal. I really do love the warm earthy tones, and with this being such a cool toned blue, almost like a green, I think it was called Sea Glass. Like I say, beautiful colour, but I just don't think it was me, and this was me trying to push myself to kind of go out my comfort zone, but what I actually ended up doing was really trying to work with the fact that I'd done this on the page. I was determined not to just stick it together and go to another page, which is a totally valid thing to do. You can just turn the page and start again because there's many more pages in this book, but I really wanted to persevere and see if I could work with it and incorporate this colour in a way that felt a little bit more me. And I actually really love the way this stenciling came out. I know that you're normally supposed to use a sponge, but I just couldn't find a sponge. I didn't have one on hand, so I just used my brush, and it worked perfectly fine for what I needed it for. So working with this blue, I then thought it would be quite nice to work in some of these new papers from a paper pad set that I got recently, because you'll see the blue matches like almost perfectly with the colour. So I thought, great, this is a way to work in the colour to the page. I also added this like, I don't know, peachy corally pop of washi, because I thought that would be a really nice contrast of colour. And whilst I was thinking about how much I regretted my decision of adding that to my page, I decided to flip ahead a few pages and rip some pages out of this journal. I know with an altered book you are supposed to kind of prep it and rip all the pages out, or like, you know, half of them every other couple of pages, but I'm just kind of doing it as I go, and I think that's a method that's working fine for me, just kind of working in it as I go. So I took out that bit that I tipped in, and then I thought maybe it's the blue and the, I don't know, in your faceness of it. So I decided to get my white acrylic paint and see if I could push it back a bit. This kind of worked, but I also still felt like it really wasn't me. I feel like that was just the feeling I had throughout this whole page. I was like, I wanted to find something that was more authentic to me, and working through this really kind of made me think about what is it that I actually like when I do my journal pages. And an activity that I find quite good for this is if you grab your old journals, if you have them, your art journals, junk journals, whatever they may be, and just go through the pages and maybe grab a pen and a paper whilst you're there and write a list or make a note of what do you like from your previous work. So we're not looking at anybody else's journals, we're not comparing ourselves to anybody, we're just looking at ourselves. What is it that you like? So take a look at each page. Was it a colour scheme that spoke to you? Was it the, I don't know, the way that like the coffee seeped into the paper that you might try to replicate? Was it the certain papers, the size of the journal, some of the stitching that you might have done? And just make a list of everything that you like from previous pages that you've done, and then you can kind of have that in your mind when you're creating future pages, and sort of pick from your list of things that you like, the things that you know work well for you, or the things that you enjoy doing. And you can kind of build up your toolkit almost of things that you know work for you. So especially if you're feeling in a little bit of a rut, or you're like me and you're working in this page going, what on earth is going on? You know, I know that I like my fussy cut florals, so I went back to what I knew worked for me, what makes my heart sing, and I integrated this floral onto the page. Yes, it did cover up what was underneath, but I feel like adding this, I thought, yes, this is so much more me, and I still liked the painty layers and the texture, that was all still there, but it was just a lot more muted down, and it was even like the scribbles and the texture, I just love those elements to it. And another thing I love to do is adding some stitched elements. So I am by no means an embroidery expert, but I just wanted to add some really simple slow stitch elements to this page for some texture, for some interest. I also think that the green added a lovely contrast to this page, so I just decided to add a few crisscrosses to the bottom of the page, also kind of tied in with those clear floral stickers that I decided to add, which that was when I was trying to go with the purple and the green theme, but I just thought that the stitching actually looked quite nice alongside those flowers, just to bring some more texture to the page. that is everything I created for this mini altered book episode. I hope you enjoyed journaling along with me. I think that I really learnt to persevere with a page like this, and I'm just adding some final scribbles there. I really love doing that as a finishing touch to a page, and I actually really like how this turned out, which is quite surprising. So hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.